Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Illegal immigration is proving to be a mammoth challenge for the Bahamas. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 10th March 2023. Details when we return.
Hubbard's Motor Department Mount Gay and Hubbard's Tire Bay, located at the Building Supplies compound in Grand Anse, are reminding the motoring public that another round for licensing and inspection has begun. Just arrived on new shipments of quality furrowed and torque tires to fit all makes and models of vehicles at competitive pricing. Shop early to avoid the hassle of long lines. WhatsApp them on 473-405-5482. Hubbard's, quality service, affordable prices.
Welcome back. More illegal Haitian immigrants found off Andros in the Bahamas. More in this ZNS News item.
Meantime, that Haitian vessel discovered off the western coast of Andros Friday had more illegal migrants on board than initially thought. After going on a mission to apprehend the group on Sunday and retrieving 127 Haitian nationals, Labor and Immigration Minister, the Honorable Keith Bell, says officials are headed back to that area. After signing 100 repatriation permits to return migrants to their home countries, the minister says migrants, not from the Andros group, are set to return over the next 2 days. He also reiterated the warning for migrants to cease and desist entering the Bahamas illegally.
I must indicate that information received after this morning that there are about a dozen or so more which have drifted in other areas in the Keys. And so we are now sending a team back in there to do a secondary check to make sure we rescue these people. Persons found illegally in this country or found attempting to enter this country illegally will be deported and placed on a restricted list, which will completely bar them from any future entry into the Bahamas for any reason.
Now, on the issue of immigration, the minister says shantytown demolitions are imminent after an injunction was lifted last month. Furthermore, he's expected to meet with the Shantytown Committee and Minister of Public Works, the Honorable Alfred Sayers. As for repatriating illegal migrants, Bell says officials are working to get illegal migrants out the country to eliminate crowding within the detention center.
Trying to ensure that we do not allow the detention centers to become overflow so that we may have a challenge with those coming in. Obviously, as the situation in Haiti deteriorates, and even though persons are concentrating on Haiti, you would take note that over the last month or so, we've had more Cubans in custody than Haitian immigrants in our detention centers. And so it is more, the Haitian government cooperates more quickly than the Cuban government. And so the idea is to ensure that we work with both the Haitian and Cuban government to ensure that we get these persons who are in our custody at the detention center, we get them out, because from all indications, we're going to continue to see an exodus from both those countries.
Jamaica's government signs agreement with international auditors to investigate the SSL matter. TVJ's Anthony Lugg reports.
Overseas financial auditors have officially been brought in to assist in the ongoing fraud case at Stocks and Securities Limited SSL. Kroll Associates UK today signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Finance. Anthony Lugg has the details.
The clock has been ticking, and the country has been growing impatient about the investigation into the multi-million-dollar fraud at Stocks and Securities Limited, SSL. In January, the Finance Minister, Dr. Nigel Clark, revealed that international forensic partners were engaged, but since then, there have been no update. On Tuesday, however,
we are here today to sign with Kroll Associates UK, a firm of a subsidiary of Kroll International, which is a firm known for their forensic audit experience and expertise. This fraud, as I mentioned, and as the other members of, the executive director of the FID mentioned, is complex, complicated because of the length of time over which it was perpetrated.
Kroll Associates UK brings to the table over 100 years' experience in forensic auditing. Dr. Clark is confident the international firm will be able to assist with the investigations.
Kroll will bring to the table in their assistance to FID technology and the fraud squad, technology and expertise that will enable the investigators to unravel every aspect of this fraud.
So far, former wealth advisor Jean-Ann Panton is facing multiple charges in relation to the fraud. The police have been mum on whether there are accomplices. So, as the international auditor digs into the matter, all eyes will be watching. In the midst of it all, skepticism among some Jamaicans about the possible outcome.
The policy directive with respect to the investigation in the SSL matter consists of, first, leaving no stone unturned. Secondly, to follow the evidence wherever it might lead. And third, to seek international help. And fourth, the government will provide whatever resources are required.
Anthony Lug, TVJ News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in Trinidad and Tobago has come in for some blame. That's after the court matter linked to the Piarco Airport project was discontinued earlier this week. We hear from DPP Roger Gaspard, SC, as he tries to explain why his office decided to discontinue the matter. Anselm Gibbs of TV6 News reports.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Roger Gaspard, is speaking out after the court matter known as Piarco 3 was discontinued on Monday. Speaking on sister radio station I-95.5 FM, Gaspard said he understands why some people are blaming the DPP's office for what happened.
In 2023, we are now looking to proceed with a matter that arose in 1998, 1999. I would have to say that doesn't speak to an efficiently working system. And the DPP's office is one of the major stakeholders in the system.
Gaspard says the DPP's office is not just primarily concerned about convicting people. Rather, according to Gaspard, it aims to prosecute people when there's sufficient and compelling evidence.
It's not a win-at-all-cost situation. If you lose, well, then something wrong with you. Sometimes when you discontinue a matter, in my respectful view, if the discontinuation of the matter is premised on strong and sensible grounds, then the DPP's office would have done the right thing. So I do not see why that should attract or why any dirt should attend upon a decision that might be predicated upon strong grounds.
In the matter that was discontinued, former Prime Minister Basdeo Pandey and his wife Uma were accused of receiving £25,000 sterling from businessman Ishwa Galbaransing and former Minister Carlos John as some kind of reward in relation to the Piarco Airport project. But Gaspard says his office is proceeding with the other Piarco matters.
Piarco number 2 is pending. Piarco number 1, that is still, we also would have received a committal in that, and we are awaiting certain things. And in relation to Piarco number 4, we receive a committal in that. So those two, Piarco number 1 and Piarco number 4, daily, not cantonally, we would have successfully piloted those through the preliminary inquiry procedure.
Anselm Gibbs, TV6 News.
In the meantime, Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago has recorded its highest annual growth rates it has ever achieved. And Trinidad and Tobago has signed a US $315 million loan to facilitate the restructuring of WASA. CNC3's Peter Christopher tells us more in Business Watch.
Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago has netted loan growth of $1.6 billion while maintaining good credit quality. Derek Hudson, chairman of Scotia Trinidad and Tobago, shared the bank's financial results for fiscal 2022 while speaking at the bank's AGM held at the Hyatt Regency Hotel, Port of Spain, on Tuesday.
For the year ending 31st October 2022, the group realized an after-tax profit of $684 million, an increase of $80 million or 13% over the comparative prior year period, driven mainly by growth in core operating revenues, increases in customer loans, and overall banking activity.
He further outlined how the bank performed for the year ended the 31st of October 2022.
One of the main highlights is the overall loan growth of 10%, with solid performance from our business lines. Retail banking at 9% and commercial banking at 16%. In total, we achieved loan growth of $1.6 billion. I repeat, $1.6 billion, one of the highest annual growth rates we have ever achieved, while maintaining good and solid credit quality.
President of the Inter-American Development Bank, Ilian Goldfein, today paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, where the first drawdown of a US $80 million loan to facilitate the restructuring of the Water and Sewerage Authority was signed. The loan was signed by Minister of Planning and Development Penelope Beckles and Goldfein and overseen by the Prime Minister. The loan was approved to boost the efficiency, quality, sustainability, and resilience of TNT's drinking water supply and water security.
The United Nations hosts session of the Commission on the Status of Women. Andre Huey of SKN Newsline reports.
The world needs more women and girls in tech. This was the rallying cry during the opening segment of the Commission on the Status of Women on Tuesday at the United Nations and ends on March 17th. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres addressed this during the Commission under the theme Innovation and Technological Change and Education in the Digital Age for Achieving Gender Equality and Empowerment of All Women and Girls. This is the priority theme guiding the next 2 weeks of ministerial roundtables, interactive dialogues, and general discussions as thousands of delegates from all across the world, NGOs, UN entities, and youth representatives take the stage to advance the cause of women's empowerment and women's rights in the digital age.
Your focus this year on closing gender gaps in technology and innovation could not be more timely. Because as technology races ahead, women and girls are being left behind. The math is simple. Without the insights and creativity of half the world, science and technology will fulfill just half their potential. 3 billion people are still unconnected to the internet, but the majority of them, women and girls in developing countries. And in least developed countries, just 19% of women are online. Globally, girls and women make up just 1/3 of students in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. In the tech industry, men outnumber women 2-to-1. But in artificial intelligence, only about 1 out of 5 workers is a woman. And artificial intelligence is shaping our future world.
Her Excellency Nerys Dockery headed the all-female delegation representing St. Kitts and Nevis, which also includes Ms. Asha de Souza, First Secretary in the Permanent Mission of St. Kitts and Nevis to the United Nations, and were also joined by Dr. Christine Walwyn and Ms. Dawn Williams, International Federation of Business and Professional Women, who are attending as civil society observers. According to proceedings from the Permanent Mission of St. Kitts and Nevis to the United Nations, the delegation will soon be joined by Senator Iselene Phillip, Junior Minister in the Ministry of Social Development, Youth Empowerment, Gender Affairs, Aging and Disabilities, who arrives in New York on Friday. Ambassador Nerys Dockery said this year's convening of the CSW is taking place at a critical juncture. Today, delegates, especially delegates from small states like St. Kitts and Nevis, are here to draw global attention to the unequal pace of digital transformation within and across countries. As a result of these challenges, the digital divide has become the new face of gender inequality, end quote. CSW 67 is the first in its history to include young people in the dialogues with ministers and other decision makers, opening a space for their voices to be heard at the highest level and for their inputs to influence the outcome. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.
Hubbards is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now now at hubbartshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.